Remember those lazy summer days at the beach? You thought you were alone? But if you'd look closely into the sand, between the grains, there are thousands of little worms that scientists call nematodes. We unknowingly step on the homes of these microscopic creatures every day. You say you never heard of a nematode? Allow me to show you the nematode family album. You may know their cousin, the hookworm, the nasty bugger that infects 1 billion people around the world. The victims get infected by walking barefoot in contaminated soil. And I hope you haven't been unfortunate enough to meet the nematode Trichinella spiralis. He might do a number on you if you eat undercooked pork. Trichinosis, anyone? But let's not malign the entire nematode population. Out of an estimated 100 million species, only 13 plague us humans. Smithsonian researchers Dwayne Hope and Ashley Smythe are going to show me all the places these spineless creatures call home.
Haven't you?
Yeah, the birds will have nematodes in them, you know, so you could shoot them and then we could collect.
Is that all you talk about is nematodes?
I think nematodes are for these two what the New York Knicks are for others. A lifelong passion. Now this is dedication.
Is it cold? It's a little cold.
Apparently, nematodes don't just live in warm, sunny beaches. They also hang out in freezing, muddy water.
Yeah, look at all those nematodes.
You might have one in there, you might have 10. How many might you have in there?
You know, when we've been down here before, we would say there'd be a few hundred in here.
A few hundred?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nematodes?
Yes.
In there?
They're small.
I like to use short and fragmented sentences to describe my surprise.
But I imagine that there's a lot of them in there.
All nematodes need is a little moisture and a snack. Something tasty like bacteria, fungi, or other nematodes.
Here we are in February in the water, in the cold, and these guys live comfortably. This is their home, and yet also in another extreme, in a really, really hot environment, there's also nematodes that can exist. Is it safe to say they're one of the hardiest creatures, organisms on Earth?
As a group, they have probably utilized planet Earth as well as any major group of animals.
Anything that can live virtually anywhere on the planet. You know, I mean, it's impressive.
What would this environment here hold me?
They may not want to admit it, but I suspect that Dwayne and Ashley see nematodes everywhere.
Say you see a bunch of hot babes in a hot tub. You look at that and go, ooh, I bet that's a nematode-rich environment?
No comment.
Not all nematodes are created equal. Some prefer drier dwelling places.
Especially there'd be some really interesting ones underneath trees, so under the roots of trees. So why don't we get a terrestrial sample?
Would you like that?
And actually, let me just grab a bag, and we'll bring some soil.
You get a
back to
terrestrial
the lab
sample.
and
That's why they brought me along. They needed a muscle.
Get in there a little bit. And,
Dwayne and Ashley are taking me back to the lab so we can see what they've got in their samples.
Hello, gang.
Hi, how you doing, Tom?
Good, thanks. Took me a while to get out of all that outerwear. Well, you guys were just like so casually dressed. I had like 16 layers on out there. How does nematode research apply to humans, or does it at all?
There's a nematode that's an important part of medical research. It's called Caenorhabditis elegans, and it's actually kind of like a lab rat. People have been using for decades now as an important model organism to study genetics, development, and actually lifespan is one of the interesting things now.
The relatively simple cellular structure of the C. elegans makes it possible for researchers to isolate different genes, even those that control aging. Dwayne and Ashley focus on nematodes that live not in the lab, but in the natural world. They study marine nematodes, a diverse group that lives all over the world.
Which one is this?
This is a predatory nematode, and this one has jaws.
You know what those are called? Mandibles of death.
They are.
They are, exactly.
Absolutely.
Now, we've gone down to the base of the esophagus, and lo and behold, here's another nematode.
Hello.
Yep.
So it has swallowed this nematode whole.
Look at that. So that's the old nematode in the other one.
You can actually
He
see.
said very elegantly.
And I just one other thing I wanted to show you as a point of interest here. This nematode was defecating. Here in fecal material is the spine of a polychaete worm.
You know, it's not oftentimes I'm at a loss for words, Dwayne.
We've done it.
But when you say when a nematode is defecating and defecated a spine of a polychaete worm,
It's hard to come back from that.
I don't
isn't
have
it?
much of a comeback to
It's
that.
hard to beat that, yeah.
So the next time you go to the beach, remember to tread lightly on the microscopic nematodes that make their home in the sand.